am given in terms of preparation of the bill. Let me put it very clearly, Mr. Speaker, that we are not in bringing this bill to Parliament asking for the formation of another parastatal to govern the growth and marketing of mung beans. We are simply saying let's have the crop included among the scheduled crops which are being handled by the Agriculture and Food Authority in this country. That way, we will be able to make sure that the environment in which it is promoted, the environment in which it is grown, the environment in which it is marketed is governed by the laws of this country. The concerns raised by Honorable Murungaru were addressed. And we would wish that instead of us throwing away the bill, let us look at it at the committee stage and make the necessary recommendations so that this bill can be used to improve the growth of mung beans in this country. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I do support and maybe ask my colleague who is in front of me to bring in the changes he so desires so that we can have this crop governed in terms of regulatory purposes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ekomas Mutuse, are you for this bill? No.
Mr. Speaker, I can contribute.
No, you can. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the mung beans bill, which is a Senate bill. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, ndengu is majorly grown in the southeastern region of this country, Tharaka and other ASO regions. And therefore, it is an important crop in terms of the household economies of the constituents whom I represent. Mr. Speaker, principally, we support the fact that we need a legal regime to regulate the production, marketing, and value addition for mung beans rather than ndengu, so that our farmers can maximize on their farming. As you would appreciate, Mr. Speaker, currently, ndengu is neither classified as a food crop, neither is it classified as a cash crop. And for that purpose, and for the lack of a legal regime, there has never been a channel for government funds, taxpayers' money, to assist farmers in terms of how they farm, produce, market, and value-add ndengu. And therefore, principally, we support this law for that particular purpose. And I would wish to agree with members who have raised concerns in terms of the possibility of levying farmers. And I know because I have discussed with farmers in my constituency. Farmers are averse that should the law pass in its current form, there will be levied monies so that growing ndengu will become a privilege of a few because it will attract levies. And rather than throwing away the bath water with the baby, I am of the opinion that we can propose amendments at the committee stage so that we cure some of these rather oppressive provisions in the Senate bill. Mr. Speaker, secondly, where I come from, our people do not farm coffee. Our people are not farming cotton as it should be. Our people are not farming tea. And therefore, essentially, there is need to have pulses, which are ndengu, peas, and others, including fruits in future, as a cash crop for that particular region. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I support the proposed mung beans bill with amendments. We will also be proposing at the committee stage, Mr. Speaker, that we change the title of the bill from mung beans to ndengu, because I am sure many in this country, including members of parliament, are hearing mung beans for the first time. It is a strange word. And there is no need to import words from other jurisdictions when already in Kenya we know that ndengu is ndengu. So we will also be proposing amendments so that it is no longer mung beans bill. We'll be proposing that we call it ndengu bill, so that if this also so passes it, then it will be the Ndengu Act. Mr. Speaker, with that, I support and we'll be proposing amendments to cure some of the oppressive provisions that have been highlighted by our people through through media, and also by reading the law, realizing the issue of levies and the issue of the title. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now there is no more. Charles Ngusia. Oh, sorry.
Thank you,
Ngusia
Mr. Speaker.
and
Mr.
Milemba.
Speaker,
You are not on the screen.
from
though.
the onset, let me say I'm supporting this bill, Mr. Speaker. But with the reservation that we need to make some amendments as put by Honorable Murugara. Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking our Senator Kitui County who came up with this bill. And I think it was for the importance of our people, the farmers actually growing this mung bean or dengu, the way we have put it, Mr. Speaker. Some of the objective actually was to promote the productivity of this crop and generate higher income for the farmers. And others was to provide for framework for the implementation of this effective marketing strategy, Mr. Speaker. With all these factors, Mr. Speaker, I have listened very carefully to one of my colleagues who actually went through it. And I concur in totality that we need more public participation in order for this bill actually to go through, Mr. Speaker. But let me put, there was a lot of negative publicity on this bill, but I urge the members actually to read what is in the bill before opposing it, because I think it is very important, Mr. Speaker. It has gone to the extent of even setting the duties of the authorities who are supposed to be here, and I have gone through them. They are keenly okay. Duties of the county executive, which is actually agriculture is a devolved function. And Mr. Speaker, I don't have much to say, but I'll be going through this bill and proposing some of the amendments which are contentious, especially the fees, levies being done on it. With those few remarks, I support.
Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From where I come from, the mung beans are not grown. But having been a keen follower of the matters of this bill, and I was there when the bill was moved, Honorable Speaker, I want to report to you that one item I noticed about the bill when it was being moved by the Chair Agriculture, the bill itself was far much shorter.
Zengu.
Yes.
Yes.
The bill itself was far much shorter than what was later added on by the committee members in terms of proposal, amendments, and the other issues that they wanted to change on that particular bill. In fact, the committee itself had a much longer story than the bill itself. That was the first thing I noticed. Number two, Honorable Speaker, I had the privilege of sitting where you are that particular day, and I had to call one of the professionals in agriculture to ask, what are these mung beans? Because I did not know what mung beans were. So I was later told this was ndengu. But later on the next day, what I noticed is that the publicity this bill had was extremely negative. And it looked like the way it was being framed, especially for those members of parliament who come from areas where these beans are grown on dengu, it looked like the farmers feel and know that if the bill goes through, then there will be punitive aspects to them to pay for them to grow the crop. And I noticed that there was no understanding between the people whom the bill was being made for and the bill itself per se. And therefore, it looked like there were royalties being put on the people who will be growing these ndengus. I propose that two things have to happen for the sake of a good bill and for the farmers of the mung beans or dengu. That either the committee must take it up very thoroughly and do extreme total change, including the title possibly, or we take it back to the Senate so that it's properly done with public participation. Honorable Speaker, I think I take the second option. I see a situation whereby somebody knows a good idea but has not shared with the people on the ground. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Phyllis Barto, are you for There being no interest in further contributions, I call the mover to reply. Where is Honorable Nzengu? Why has he orphaned his own bill? Clerk. Honorable members will defer the bill to be put on the order paper for Thursday for the mover to reply. Those who have an interest, tell Honorable Nzengu to come and reply to the bill. Next order.
Order number 10, the coffee bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader. Owen, is it you? Dr. Mutunga, you are the one moving?
Yes, Your
Go ahead.
Honorable Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to move the coffee bill, which is the Senate Bill number 10 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, this bill was read the first time on 16th of April 2024 and subsequently committed to the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock Development for consideration. Honorable Speaker, the committee has considered this bill and invited stakeholders for public participation to submit memoranda and their comments on the bill, and the same has been captured in the revised version of the bill and will be brought to this House during the third reading. Honorable Speaker, a brief background on the coffee industry in this country. Coffee, Honorable Speaker, was first planted in Kenya upon introduction in Taita Hills at a place called Bura. That was in 1893. In 1900, coffee was planted at Voi under irrigation on trial basis. And later on, in 1904, it was planted in Kikuyu. That is how coffee found itself in the Kenyan Islands. Honorable Speaker, today, coffee is grown in 33 counties out of 47. So it's really a crop that is of socioeconomic nature in most of the counties of this country. It is grown by not less than 800,000 smallholder farmers and not less than 4,000 estates, which means it is both an estate or land scale and a small scale older crop. In the 1980s, Kenya was a leading exporter in the region on coffee. But now, coffee is number 3 in terms of our exports after tea and horticulture. There is, however, great potential for coffee to get back home as the leader crop in terms of export, because we have what it takes. We have the good soils, we have good varieties innovated by our research institutions, we have good farmers who can produce coffee, and we have the right climate. What has been missing in this country, or what has affected the coffee farmers, are the challenges that I might wish to outline, Honorable Speaker. One of the key challenges the farmers of this country face is that coffee is low income earning, despite being a high income crop. Kenyan coffee is very high standard, is of very high quality, is a preferred commodity across the globe. In fact, in most of the outlets, Kenyan coffee would find itself as a specialty crop in most of the prestigious markets. There is also delayed payment to the farmers as a challenge, and in most cases, the payments are meager. And that's one of the things that has affected the farmers of this country. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the mismanagement of the cooperatives through which the Kenyan farmers process their coffee. Coffee is initially taken to the primary cooperatives where the primary processing, or what is called pulping, takes place. So, the other issue that has been affecting the Kenyan farmers is the lack of direct access by the farmers themselves to the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. This is the coffee trading platform. Lack of access makes the farmers not understand exactly what happens, and therefore deals cut around there probably may impact upon them negatively. Honorable Speaker, in the initial stages, coffee have performed very well in this country. Kenya lags behind countries like Ethiopia and Uganda in terms of production, and in some cases, productivity. Productivity in the sense that we are looking at the yield per tree and production in terms of the collective total that we produce. Honorable Speaker, smallholder farmers who place on the market 70% of the coffee that we sell suffer poorer productivity and higher production costs compared to the estates. In this case, it is expensive to produce coffee on a small scale. This is mainly due to the governance issues that you find in the cooperatives, as I mentioned earlier, the insufficiency of the tariff processing, which burdens smallholder farmers with higher processing costs, lack of transparency within the factories themselves and the management attributes, and therefore the farmers do not get to know the exact reality about their crop. Productivity of coffee in this country, Honorable Speaker, is very low. I wish to state that on average, a Kenyan coffee tree, Kenyan farmer coffee tree, would give us 2 kilos per tree, when we have the potential to get 20 kilos per tree, or even more. Honorable Speaker, on a small scale level, we can only get 2 kilos per tree. On large scale, because they have been able to improve a little bit on the management, we are able to get about 4 kilos per tree. That is still very little compared to what is possible. We should aim at not less than 20 kilos per tree because it is possible and it is happening right here in Kenya. On the other hand, Honorable Speaker, value addition for coffee has been very low. We are utilizing only 30% of the installed capacity to process coffee in this country, which means we have capacity to process a lot of coffee, but 70% of that capacity lays idle. Honorable Speaker, on the other hand, when you look at the milling, the removal of parchment from the bean, the milling aspect of it, Honorable Speaker, we are only utilizing 13% of the installed capacity, which means 87% of the capacity stays idle. And this is because coffee was abandoned by the farmers out of the problems that I've highlighted. So value addition is poor, and therefore it means that most of the coffee in this country is not value added. Honorable Speaker, our consumption capacity as at now is 5% of the coffee that we produce. That means we sell 95% of the coffee. What that tells you is that the low processing capacity or value addition capacity of the country has only been able to turn around 5%, which we consume as a country. The rest of the coffee we sell as raw materials for others to process. We export jobs. Honorable Speaker, we need to embark on processing coffee in this country so that we can be able to employ our youth. There are several government interventions that are noteworthy. The government of Kenya has set up what we are calling Cherry Advance Revolving Fund through the Coffee General Regulations of 2019. This revolving fund is supposed to stabilize the prices of coffee. Honorable Speaker, as we speak, already about 5.2 billion shillings have been moved to the farmers through payments of at least 80 shillings per kilo through the use of this fund. However, these measures have not significantly turned the sector around as we expect, so productivity is still low and production is low. Honorable Speaker, we cannot miss out from comparing coffee in Kenyan coffee with the other countries and other sectors. The Kenya's position on coffee globally is very, very low. Kenya's coffee sector continues to be a vital part of the country's economy, yet we have not been able to capture our market. Honourable Speaker, we lost our quota in the world market. Kenya was exporting more than 120,000 metric tons of coffee, but we lost that quota because of mismanagement of the factories and of unbearance on the farmers on costs. Honourable Speaker, we lag behind a country like Uganda and our neighbor Ethiopia in terms of this processing of coffee and in terms of the turnaround amounts. In terms of productivity, as I said earlier, we are only able to realize 2 kilos on a small scale basis as a country, and we are also able to realize 4 kilos when it comes to large scale production. Other countries in our neighborhood are able to realize more. And Honourable Speaker, this is something we need to look at, and this is a mischief that has been cured through this particular bill. Honourable Speaker, when you look at market access, unlike Kenya, where smallholder farmers have limited access to the coffee exchange, other countries' farmers are able to access their coffee exchange platforms. That is something that needs to be looked into. When it comes to variety development, in terms of crop development, production of varieties through research, coffee research is domiciled in Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization as one of the research institutes. This is a specialized entity which should be reporting to a specific board to deal out the issues of productivity in terms of coming up with better varieties which are suited to better environments. Therefore, Honourable Speaker, this bill has come up to cure that particular mischief as well. Honourable Speaker, the donor dependency on the research institution, especially the Coffee Research Institute, ends up messing up or shifting the agenda. The agenda is influenced in the negative. It does not give us what we actually need. Honourable Speaker, the effect of all this is such that what brought all these issues is the abolition of the coffee research levy, which was around 2% of the coffee sold in 2016. That research levy, which was supporting our research institution to come up with better varieties like SL28, SL27, Ruiru 11 and others, was abolished. Therefore, we did lose about 50% of the amount of money set to the coffee production research and productivity research in this country. And Honourable Speaker, the Research Institute does not only produce better coffee varieties. The Research Institute goes further to innovate, to do technological development, produce technologies for coffee, basically also come up with innovations and management practices. And these management practices are transferred to the farmers so that they can be able to deliver a better, crop in the sector. Honourable Speaker, let me just highlight a few issues on the bill itself. The current status is such that coffee is managed under the Agriculture and Food Authority as one of the directorates within AFA. AFA has been managing the crop development, the promotion, the marketing, and the regulation of the production and marketing of the coffee in this country. This bill comes in with very specific objectives. And one of the objectives, Honourable Speaker, is to promote a globally competitive coffee industry. Make sure that the Kenyan coffee is globally competitive. It also purposes to provide a framework for the registration and licensing of various players within the coffee sector. So the licensing and the registration is very well captured in the bill. It also comes in to delineate the roles of the national government and the roles of the county government and the roles of the regulatory institutions and the role of research, as it were. we have specifically, in this particular bill, as identified the Coffee Research Institutes and transformed it into a Coffee Research and Training Institute. It's going to be a Coffee Research and Training Institute because it will be conducting training on technologies, innovations, and management practices, so that our farmers can be able to get better varieties to produce based on the agroecologies and based on the sizes of the farm, so that we can intensify on productivity for us to get better production. Therefore, there is a specific objective to promote evidence-based coffee research and the delivery of extension services towards development of the coffee sector. And this is where we are talking about production of technologies, innovations, and management practices. The final objective of our speaker is to provide a framework for the establishment of Coffee Development Levy. Coffee Development Levy will be established to basically look at how do we support the research in coffee, how do we support the regulatory function, how do we support the marketing function. One of the things we've not done well in this country is marketed our coffee. There are many outlets in this world which buy our coffee as green bean and therefore use it for elite market. It fetches a lot of money out there, and we are not able to benefit from that kind of money because we sell our coffee as raw green bean. Madam Speaker, when you look at this particular bill, first of all, the first thing that the bill does is to try and transfer regulations from the Agriculture and Food Authority, the regulation of the coffee from the Agriculture and Food Authority to the Coffee Board of Kenya. We are recreating the Coffee Board of Kenya. On the other hand, Honourable Speaker, the research function of the Coffee Research Institute has been hived out of the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization and placed directly under the Coffee Board of Kenya so that it may be better instructed to deliver for this particular industry. Honourable Speaker, the Coffee Board is established to regulate the industry, managed by the board and the CEO, with clear functions, delegated authority, as well as powers. And these are captured on the first four from the fourth clause to the 22nd clause. It's a very comprehensive bill. Honourable Speaker, the county government functions are effectively captured between 23rd and 25th clauses, and they are basically majoring on enacting local coffee laws for the county or county-specific coffee laws and the registration of various, licensing of the variety of operators within the county. So we have made provisions for the registration of the variety of operators within every county. In terms of the regulation provision, Honourable Speaker, this covers the production itself and the registration of various operators, various growers, various millers, the roasters, the processors, and licensing various entities that would like to do business in coffee, as well as regular reporting. And this is captured in clauses 26 to 38 of the bill. Honourable Speaker, in terms of production and processing, the proposed legislation basically governs production, as it were, governs material import and material export of coffee, the certification processes, the traceability, which is very key in terms of international trading systems today. They demanded to know where the coffee was produced and even how it was produced and how the social issues were taken care of. Was it produced by children? If it was produced by children or people who are under compulsion of some nature, they will not take that coffee. So they would like to know from which farm was it produced. So the bill is very careful to capture the traceability aspect. Honourable Speaker, coffee trending and marketing is also very well captured, and this is under the 49 to 39 to 59th clauses of the bill, which basically looks at the regulation at the local level, regulation at the national level, regulation of coffee at the international level, in terms of the trending patterns and in terms of the various aspects that need to be regulated and licensed, as well as the management of the exchange and the settlement to the farmers in terms of payment. That has also been very well captured in this particular bill. Quality assurance, Honourable Speaker, has also been very well captured in terms of ensuring compliance with the quality standards at the various levels through inspection and controls. And this has been captured in the bill, if you look at clauses 63 to 60, no, clauses 60 to 62. Financial provisions of the coffee industry. This has also been very well captured. It specifies the funding, the various types of funding, including a development levy, which has been very well specified in the bill, and also the routine audits, which basically secures the fund and ensures the fund has done the right job. This is captured in clauses 63 to 68. Honourable Speaker, Coffee Research and Training Institute, which I mentioned, has also been very well taken care of, which focuses on coffee research and training based in Kiambu, where it has always been, towards production and the dissemination of technologies, innovations, and management practices. Honourable Speaker, finally, the coffee bill talks about the financial provisions of the institute, which are provided for, and then the miscellaneous and transitional arrangement. Transitional arrangement because we have the staff who are right now in the coffee directorate. These staff members, the properties or the assets and liabilities of the coffee sector will need to transit from the Agriculture and Food Authority to the Coffee Board of Kenya. So the transition arrangement are captured very well in clauses 92 to 107. That is the extent to which the bill has been covered. Honourable Speaker, to close my submission, my comments on the bill, even as I move, let me just discuss a few issues. What are the key deliverables in this particular bill? What are the expectations to the Kenyans, especially the Kenyan farmer? The bill promotes evidence-based coffee research and delivery of extension services for the development of the coffee sector. So we shall have a consistent and sustainable research system that is going to deliver a better sector than before. It also focuses on addressing the governance issues in the cooperatives, which has been really the problem, which has been the cancer in this particular sector. And also, it looks at addressing the inefficiencies in the processing and reducing the costs to improve on productivity, particularly for the smallholder farmers who are really overburdened by the cost within the industry. In terms of regulations, Honourable Speaker, the bill proposes transitioning the regulatory and commercial roles currently undertaken by AFA to the board. It also additionally seeks to transit the research of coffee from what I said, Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization to the Institute, the Research and Training Institute. It also provides a framework for the establishment of the Coffee Development Levy, which is a fund that will sustain activities within the coffee. It also identifies the variety of institutions that will be participating in this particular industry. And these include, there are several legislations on our speaker that are supportive to this particular legislation. And I wish to mention a few of them. The Crops Act is key, the AFA Act is key, Cooperative Societies Act is key, the Kauro Act, they will be somehow influenced by this particular bill. There are certain amendments. The Capital Markets Authority Act, as well as they are also going to be, and the amended version of the 2016 Capital Markets Authority is going to be also affected. And the authority to regulate spot commodity markets, such as the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, has been given by this particular bill. The Warehouse Receipting System, as it were, Act of 2019, has also been invoked in this particular legislation, where the Act provides for the warehousing of agricultural goods in government warehouses and facilities. And coffee is one of the commodities that we have to securely store, because once it is in green, in a bean form, the green bean, coffee will be always stolen because it's actually regarded as green gold. In terms of promotion, Honourable Speaker, the bill aims at promoting globally competitive coffee industry by providing the framework for the registration and licensing of various players along the value chain. It also promotes the vertical integration of the coffee value chain at the production level and achieves economies of scale in managing the risk within the coffee industry. Honourable Speaker, the bill also goes further to set up, during the discussions within coming up with this bill, the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock did invite stakeholders to submit their memoranda. And several stakeholders, Honourable Speaker, brought their memorandum. I wish to mention that we had invited and we got memoranda from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange itself, the Capital Markets Authority, a certain farmer called Mr. Caleb Kipyegon, the Council of Governors submitted their memoranda, Kenya Association of Manufacturers were there, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency, or KEBROPA, also promoted their memoranda, as well as the Coffee Reforms Steering Committee, which was involved in going through the coffee study of the coffee itself. So the stakeholders' feedback on our speaker, I may wish to highlight a few as I close. Most of the stakeholders supported the enactment of the Coffee Bill 2023. They said it's a good way to move, good way forward, and they also indicated that we need to adopt this particular legislation. They also observed that the Coffee Board of Kenya would increase efficiency in the sector due to reduced bureaucracy and also expedient processes. Honourable Speaker, they were keen on improving farmer income through fair pricing. They were keen on better market access. They were very particular on improving the farming techniques and also very particular on enhancing the global competitiveness because because of the improved quality of the coffee itself and the issue of traceability. Honourable Speaker, there are certain amendments that this bill has basically brought about. And these amendments, the stakeholders proposed amendments aimed at enriching the bill itself, such as ensuring there is no overlap in mandates between the county and the national government, there is no overlaps in mandate between the different institutions. It also basically provided incentives such as tax holiday for some of the prospective investors in this particular sector, where that which would lead to reduction of the corporate tax rate for new coffee processors in order to motivate processors to come and process coffee in this country. As we said, only about 13% of the processing capacity is utilized, as it were. Honourable Speaker, as I close, I'd like to thank my committee for the work they did and thank the Speaker and the supporting God from the Secretariat. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to move.
Seconder? Who's your seconder? You haven't invited your seconder. Who's your seconder, Honorable Mutunga?
Honourable Speaker, I would like to ask the Deputy Leader of Majority to second.
Thank you.
But I was supposed to move. I asked him to move.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows anything about coffee, but
Honourable Speaker,
hopefully you briefed him.
Honourable Speaker, I would like to put it on record. This is a bill by the Leader of Majority. And this office was supposed to move this bill, but I asked Dr. Mutunga to do that. And then that he allows that I do it, second him on behalf of the Leader of Majority, which is proper. So allow...
That's definitely not, and I get the
yes.
context.
So allow
Thank
the
you.
Majority's office to be heard on
Yes.
this. Then now others can debate.
I agree.
Whether
I
I
get
know
the
how to farm
context
coffee
now.
or not. Honourable Speaker, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I beg to second that the Coffee Bill 2023, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, be read for the second time. Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock for the remarkable job they did in looking and dissecting this bill and bringing it here so that it goes for the second reading. The Honourable Speaker, the bill proposes to reorganize the coffee industry by transitioning the regulatory and commercial roles currently undertaken by AFA, the Agricultural Food Authority, to the Coffee Board of Kenya. Honourable Speaker, this bill further seeks to transition the research of coffee currently undertaken by the Coffee Research Institute under the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization to the Coffee Research Institute. Honourable Speaker, the chairman has highlighted some of the key parts and aspects of this bill. But I don't want to go into that, but just to say a few things, Honourable Speaker, that the bill provides, Honourable Speaker, for the establishment of the Coffee Board of Kenya. You remember, when we were young, there used to be a program on radio, and you'd hear a song on Coffee Board of Kenya. Meaning, therefore, that particular time, coffee was being managed by an authority, by an organization that looked and knew and drank and slept and ate only coffee. And it thrived because there was this organization that looked after coffee and everything about coffee. This was also about other crops, tea, pyrethrum, and other organizations. But this parliament, in its wisdom, brought something called AFA and bundled all of them into one body. And this animal called AFA has actually cannibalized some of the crops, and the development of these crops, Honorable Speaker, have been stunted because of that decision. Honorable Speaker, it is important, Honorable Speaker, that
What's your point of order, Honorable Mutunga?
Mutunga, next time I won't allow you to move a bill.
Honorable Speaker, I've had some references to AFA as an animal. I was involved in the formation of AFA. I was in the interim management committee.
Yes.
We did not form an animal. We formed a parastatal, a state corporation called Agriculture and Food Authority. Are the honorable members in order to say that AFA is an animal?
Honorable Speaker, you know, if you're not a
I
native
think that was said in jest.
is not
Let's
a native
proceed.
speaker of English, he may not understand English idioms. So I want to put him in his place. Honorable
Honorable
Speaker,
Mutunga, you have been given sufficient opportunity to canvass this issue. I think let's allow others.
Honorable Speaker, this bill also provides, as you read the bits, for the role of county governments to enact county-specific legislations so that those counties that are growing coffee, they can have county-specific legislation on coffee to move the crop forward and ensure that coffee takes its center stage in this country as one of the key agricultural crops, and that spurs economic development. For example, Honorable Speaker, coffee, if you go to America, you go to all parts of the world, they'll talk about Kenyan coffee. And we have an obligation to the world to ensure that this taste, this unique taste of Kenyan coffee, still is celebrated over the world. And therefore, this parliament has the opportunity to reset the Coffee Board of Kenya, give it its arsenal, give it all the specific ingredients that it requires so that Kenyan coffee continues to taste as Kenyan coffee and is traded there and brings a lot of foreign exchange to this country and spurs agricultural development in this country. Honorable Speaker, as well stated by Honorable Mutunga, the Honorable Chair and the member for one of the best constituencies in this country, a professor of agriculture, Honorable Speaker, coffee marketing and trading is well captured in this bill. Coffee, trading, and marketing. The farmers will grow the coffee, but without a robust mechanism providing for trading and marketing of coffee, we may not achieve what we want to achieve as a country. So this bill properly provides for coffee trading and marketing in clauses 49 to 54. In this, Honorable Speaker, is anchored what we would like to do to move from just mere growing of coffee to manufacturing, to marketing, and to the branding of Kenyan coffee so that it becomes the best in the world and therefore benefiting this country. And this government has invested a lot of money in terms of developing this sector. And the payoff can only come, Honorable Speaker, if coffee is properly traded and marketed to ensure that we take our center stage, Honorable Speaker, in the world. Honorable Speaker, a lot of crops provided for, and I know, Honorable Speaker, you brought something amazing here once about pest control and uses of, all those pesticides and all that. But this speaks to quality assurance. You see, this bill provides for proper quality assurance of coffee to ensure that coffee, we do not just grow coffee, market coffee, but we grow quality coffee, market quality coffee, and the world drink quality coffee. And that's why in clauses 60 to 62 of this bill, Honorable Speaker, is provided for quality assurance mechanism to ensure that coffee imports conform to standards prescribed by laws, not only in the country, but also international standard, so that our coffee stands out. Honorable Speaker, research. A lot of the crops in this country have failed because as we started these crops over the years, research was not being done. Research was not funded, and therefore there wasn't any research output to make the products better. But, Honorable Speaker, if you look at this bill, within clauses 69 to 74, this bill provides for Coffee Research and Training Institute of Kenya, a body, corporate, an institute that will ensure proper research is done on coffee variety, on coffee, all aspects of coffee to ensure that there is growth of the industry. The lack of research in a crop means that that crop will be stunted. But if you have proper research and research institutes, then if new varieties will come, the upgrade of the crop will come in, and new products will even be established to ensure that this crop that is important to not only Kenya but also the world continues to grow and continues to be a better crop. Honorable Speaker, in this bill, transitional clauses are provided because we want to move from AFA to Coffee Board of Kenya, or move the crop from AFA, the armpit of AFA, to Coffee Board of Kenya. And therefore, it is very important, Honorable Speaker, that we have transitional clauses. So, clause 100 to 107, Honorable Speaker, provides for the transition of assets and obligations and Agricultural and Food Authority with respect to the coffee sector, and legal proceedings are provided, Honorable Speaker, reference to written law, staff of the Coffee Directorate and AFA, and all these people, so that people do not start feeling that when this bill is passed, people who are in the Directorate of Coffee and AFA will lose their jobs. It is taken care of properly in this law, so that no one is scared that when Coffee Board of Kenya is set up, therefore they will lose jobs, they will lose their remuneration, they will lose a lot of things. This bill provides for proper transitional clauses to ensure there is a smooth and seamless movement from AFA to Coffee Board of Kenya. It is provided, Honorable Speaker, in this law. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, the first schedule to this bill contains provisions relating to the conduct of business and affairs of the Board of Directors, which, Honorable Speaker, are clauses that we find in any other law, and therefore I do not need to belabor that. But I want to say this. In conclusion, this bill will provide a legal framework which will enable the sector to be more profitable in the country, increase efficiency due to reduced bureaucracies and expedited processes, improve the farmer income, which is very important, through fair pricing, better market access, and improved farming techniques, and enhanced global competitiveness as a result of improved